Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is October 24th, and you are now watching Real Talk with Ronnie's reaction segment. We are now exactly 10 days away from the most important and consequential election of our lifetimes, and the final presidential debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden has come and gone. This past Thursday, President Trump and Vice President Biden had the debate of their lives, and by all accounts, it was a good and substantive debate, with President Trump performing extremely well and Vice President Biden, for the most part, holding his own. However, with nearly 50 million early votes already cast, this debate may already be too little too late for one of the two aforementioned gentlemen. It is important to note that there have been more early votes cast now at this point than the 2016 election, and we are still 10 days away. With that being said, there are 5 main observations that I'd like to share regarding the debate. 1. Kristen Welker from NBC was leaps and bounds better than the train wreck that was Chris Wallace, though Welker did interrupt Trump many more times than Biden, which was expected. After all, mainstream media would not be mainstream media if it did not give a noticeable advantage to Democrats. But despite all this, Welker was successful because she actually moderated instead of debating one of the candidates. President Trump even went so far as to praise her performance during the debate. Also, Welker did what literally no other news outlet or social media outlet would do, which was question Joe Biden about the Hunter Biden controversy. She asked if Hunter's overseas business dealings were unethical, to which Biden gave an unsatisfactory answer. But guess what? At least she asked. Trump later would bring up this issue a few more times, and we'll get to that later, but overall, kudos to Welker for actually doing her job. She moderated a debate and asked a very relevant question. 10 years ago, it would seem odd to praise a debate moderator for moderating a debate and asking tough and inquisitive questions to both candidates, but alas, this is the world that we live in today. 2. President Trump delivered one of the best debate performances of his life, which will most probably be the last debate stage we will ever see him on. But yeah, on Thursday night, Trump was calm, collected, and on the ball. He got his points across without being too aggressive, and he was extremely polite, presidential, and charismatic. There were a number of moments during the debate where President Trump successfully hammered Biden on substantive issues. During their exchange regarding child separation at the borders, I thought Trump got the better of Biden when he repeatedly asked Biden who actually built the cages, to which Biden did not respond. If you didn't know by now, the infamous photos of migrant children being locked in cages was taken during the Obama-Biden years, and as such, those cages were in fact built during the Obama administration. Trump made it a point to point that out, and he did it quite effectively. Next, Trump brought up Hunter Biden business dealings and asked Biden to explain himself to the American public. Trump had to bring this up given the fact that there was and still is a media blackout concerning this potentially very unethical and very illegal scheme that was being cooked up by Hunter Biden. Although Biden was somewhat effective in deflecting these accusations, Trump at the very least brought this issue to the attention of voters who might be hearing about this for the first time. Lastly, Trump was particularly effective in harking back to his 2016 mantra of how politicians are just all talk and no action. He effectively used this line against Biden a few times during the debate, and in all fairness, it's completely true. Vice President Biden is the living embodiment of the DC entrenched politician. He's been there for nearly 50 years, promising and recycling the same old talking points. 4 years ago, Hillary was seen as part of the DC swamp. And don't get me wrong, it's really hard to outswamp Hillary. But if the Democrats were given the opportunity to pick a candidate who could outswamp Hillary, they really did a good job in picking Joe Biden. When Trump told Biden that in actuality, people like him and Obama were the reason why he ran in the first place, I think that really struck a nerve with the electorate. 3. Biden held his own and did a lot better than expected. Not just on Thursday, but during the first debate as well. I must say that I was quite impressed with Biden during these two debates, but then again, let's put everything into perspective here. Joe Biden is a living, breathing, walking gaffe machine, and he's been this way his entire career. In fact, most people thought he would get demolished during these debates, and that is perhaps why the bar was set so low for him. The fact that he came out of these debates relatively unscathed is a miracle in and of itself. So when you take all that into account, then yeah, Biden did well. That being said, though, Biden egregiously lied his way through this debate a number of times. First was when Biden denied that he would eliminate fracking. He has indeed said he would eliminate fracking a number of times, and you can easily fact check this by Googling Biden and fracking. In fact, he foolishly challenged Trump to find a clip of him saying that and put it on his website, which the Trump campaign promptly did. Next, Biden denied calling African Americans predators. Once again, his answer is absolutely false because Biden absolutely did call certain African Americans predators and that they were beyond the pale. Once again, you can easily fact check this by Googling those terms. Biden also said that no Americans lost their private health insurance under Obamacare. Again, false. Once again, Google it and you will find that plenty of people lost their private plans under Obamacare. In fact, you or someone you know might have lost your private insurance plan. Next, Biden dodged, ducked, and flat out lied regarding what he knew about Hunter Biden's business dealings. Now that Hunter Biden's laptop and emails are out in the open, and by open I mean censored by the mainstream media and social media giants, it is clear as day that Hunter Biden did in fact try to leverage, and in many cases, successfully leveraged his father's position in government for massive payments from the Ukrainians, the Russians, and the Chinese. To be very, very clear, if Joe Biden did in fact know about all this, not only would this all be very unethical, but it would also be very, very, very illegal and would at the very least disqualify most Americans from ever setting foot outside federal prison, let alone run for the highest office of the land. I mean, could you imagine if instead of Hunter Biden, it was Donald Trump Jr. in the center of all this? Heads would literally roll and Donald Trump's name would not even be on the ballot. 4. Biden actually admitted that he wants to get rid of the oil industry, or at the very least, eventually phase it out for renewable energy sources. You know, for a man who is trying to win in states like Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Texas, and other oil-rich states, that was not a very good answer. In fact, he lied about everything else, right? So I have no idea why he wouldn't just lie about this one as well. In any case, his campaign probably thought that was a dumb answer too. So after the debate, they tried to do damage control and say that what Biden really meant was that he would be eliminating subsidies for the oil industry and not the oil industry itself. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm not sure most Americans are that dumb, but clearly the Democrats are banking on it. For all those people who are in the oil industry and had voted early for Biden, I'm sure hearing him say those words was a bit of a gut punch. 5. Although I don't think this debate will move the needle much in terms of convincing undecided voters, but if I had to pick a side that benefited more from this debate, I would undoubtedly say that it was President Trump. President Trump proved that he could be articulate, tempered, and presidential when he needs to be, and in all honesty, the optimism that he displayed during this debate will resonate with voters. I think most Americans are already weary of and fed up with COVID-19, and lockdowns are not the answer, and President Trump articulated that quite well. These lockdowns are hurting the economy and are devastating to everyday Americans, especially those who own small businesses. President Trump made it very, very clear that he wants to open the economy and that we are more or less over the hump. Vice President Biden, on the other hand, talked of a long, dark winter and warned of more lockdowns and shutdowns, which can literally spell ruin for millions of Americans. Furthermore, Biden's comments about shutting down the oil industry probably didn't help as well. Last but not least, and as I mentioned earlier, Trump did really well in harking back to his outsider theme and how Biden had 47 years to do all the things he is promising to do now. I think this very effectively reminded voters why they voted for Trump in the first place. The next 10 days will indeed be crucial for both candidates, and we are literally in the fourth quarter. Stay tuned next week for when I give my predictions for how this election will ultimately turn out. Until then, have a great day, and thanks for watching Real Talk with Ronnie's reaction segment. Peace out.